Hey Pards, we're here with Cookie. He's going to tell us a little bit about his new purchase, an 1880s Farmbox wagon. So Cookie, we can see quite a bit of metal work here, including bolts. What is original, if anything, and what's a modern reproduction?
The modern reproduction is all the wood is all modern.
Okay.
Some of the bolts, of course, he used are modern. The brake mechanism is original, except this bolt here.
Okay.
But all the original hardware, the slats or the metal strips that go on top and between everything's all original hardware.
Okay.
The seat is an original seat, excluding the broken parts that will need repaired.
Yep. No, that's great. You'd hardly expect a wooden wagon stored outside to last more than 20 or so years.
Yeah.
You know, driving it in over bumpy, uneven terrain.
Well, driving it, I say you got your side to side to where the wagon will move on that axle.
Yep.
But most of your suspension is right here, and that's it.
Okay.
I say it just acts as like a leaf spring on a car, and gives you a little bit smoother ride. But I'm assuming if this was a fixed without springs to the wagon,
Yeah. Very jarring.
it would be horrible. The seats it was actually comfortable. I'll say.
Interesting.
I haven't driven a team in probably 20 years. People say it's like riding a bicycle. They're nuts. No,
Not like
at all.
Yeah.
It was a little scary at first, just getting back in it.
A little bit about some of the running gear. What kind of condition was that when you purchased that?
The running gear is in the absolute same condition as when I bought it. I bought it horse ready. It was ready to hook up to a team and use it. So since then we did use it in the movie Letters Home.
Okay.
It's coming out Memorial Day weekend.
Excellent. Yep, I've got a couple parts in that movie. How many horses do you have pulling the wagon?
We just had two. We had 2 quarter horses hooked up to it.
Okay.
And it was grand time.
Okay.
It was really good.
How did the wagon perform? Got 2 horses, heavy, was it cumbersome at all?
They pulled it just like there was nothing behind them.
Okay.
It pulls really easy. 2 of us, if I had the hitch and stuff here, I say we could put 2 of us on it and we could pull it around the park, no problem at all.
Excellent. And I'm always curious about the wheels, with the stories of the pioneers and stuff having to grease the wagon wheels. What kind of maintenance do you have for the hubs?
For the hubs, you'd have to take this bolt off.
Yep.
You'd have to, of course, block up the axles, take that off, and you'd have to hand pack those axles. Because all there is on the end of that shaft, there's a steel rod on the end of that shaft. And then, of course, you got your grease part.
Yep.
And then you got pretty much just the wooden hub in there.
Okay. How often does that need to get done? Is it a once a season thing or maybe a once a week?
If you strongly use it every week with the team, they would grease them about once a month.
Brake mechanism. What can you tell us about the brake mechanism and how is it operated?
The brake mechanism is just a wood block on the steel rim, and it's got a rod. It's got your brake system here, and it's got a rod that goes through the toolbox up to the handle.
Okay. Obviously operated by the driver, correct?
Yep, it'd be operated by the driver. And you just pull the handle back, and it would lift your mechanism, the lock mechanism.
Yep.
And then you just operate the brake. That'd release your brake. And then say you pull it all the way back forward, and then that would lock your brake in.
Okay.
And that would just keep it from rolling.
Let's see it in action if you want to work the action a few times. So we've got the brake on right now. Releasing the brake.
There, it's all the way open.
Okay. And re-engaging. All right. I noticed the rear brakes here. It's 2 brakes. This one's not hooked up. Would it simply have a separate lever, or could both be brakes be?
It's hooked up underneath to the other side.
Okay. Okay. I did not see that. All right. So you've got a 2 rear brakes.
Once they get stopped, to help this brake a little better,
Yep.
they would take a rope and tie it off to the front of the wagon.
Okay.
Just to help keep this brake on.
I gotta assume with a team of horses, you want all the stopping power you get if they got spooked or decide to take off. Here on the front axle, can you tell us what that says? I'm not sure how well it's gonna appear.
I'm not for sure what it is, but it says number 2, and then it looks like a 5, and then it says truck.
Okay.
The only thing I can think of that would have numbers like that is no fire engine box.
All right. And then the color red kind of would match that theory.
And they would have matched the theory of being a fire engine. We got, another set of brake, or another brake pad over here.
Okay.
And then this base here,
Yes.
would have been either for a pickle barrel, to where they could have stored water,
Okay.
or flour and sugar, or just anything to keep out of the inside of the box.
Take a look at some of the wood along the side of the wagon. Obviously this is the reproduction wood, but it's rough cut cedar. So instead of having that smooth look, you get the rough cut of the sawmill blade. What can you tell us about this? Obviously, it looks very utilitarian.
The inside of the box would basically been used just like a truck bed, or a modern day truck bed, to where you would have hauled, you know, all your furniture, your tents, your kitchenette, any furniture if you were moving, to get it to where you need to be. And 90% of the time, the father or the male would have been up on the seat.
Yep.
And the wife and any kids that you would have would have walked behind the wagon.
Interesting. So they, instead of riding in, they would have walked behind.
They would have walked behind the wagon. Just for the fact that most of the time they had the wagon box so full that they didn't have room.
Okay.
But if they had small enough children, they would have like their kitchen boxes up front, and they would have laid blankets and stuff up there so the baby or whatever could ride up front if the mom was too tired. But with the fear of that, they were afraid the baby could have fallen in behind the box.
Mm-hmm.
And if their load shifted, stuff like that, how dangerous it would have been to be in the back of the wagon. It's called Letters Home. It's coming out Memorial Day weekend, May 29th. The premiere's down at Head Lake Winery and down around St. Louis. But I played, of course, regimental cook. I had 3 roles. I was regimental cook.
Yep.
Then I played an infantry soldier, and then I played Thomas McGinnity and his family with the wagon in the scene, and that's where the wagon was in the scene.
Are you driving the wagon then?
Yes.
We certainly saw it first here. We've seen the wagon firsthand. We can't wait to see you on the big screen.
Yes. Thank you.